There you go.
Hi, my name is Grace, and today I will be responding to the claim that alternative fuel vehicles do cause harm to the environment. My opponent's two secondary claims are: one, the mining required to build the alternative cars contributes to environmental pollution, and two, the production requirement to make these cars pose environmental and health risks. So to go back to his first claim that mining required to build these alternative cars contributes to the environmental pollution, he states that in order to build these alternative fuel cars, you have to mine for metals. However, you have to mine for metals to make any car, not just energy efficient ones. According to an article written on howstuffworks.com, building a hybrid car is almost exactly the same as building a conventional car, requiring high-tech and highly automated assembly lines. This type of manufacturing process requires tremendous inputs of energy, particularly the forging of materials like aluminum, glass, and plastic. So I think the bigger problem here is to find an alternative to building all vehicles, not just the hybrid ones. Next, he talks about how we are producing more than demanded, which results in unnecessary mining. In an article written by Lindsay Wilson on ShrinkThatFootprint.com titled "The Electric Cars Aren't That Green Myth Debunked," she states that electric cars are relatively new at a commercial scale and are dealing with issues of cost, range, and charging speed, each of which will be helped by improving the batteries. Despite this, they offer enormous hope for reducing carbon emission, improving local air quality, and limiting noise pollution. So she says that all of these things such as cost, range, and charging speed can be improved just by fixing batteries, which is constantly being improved every day. For instance, Tesla just came out with a car that will run 295 miles on a single charge. Also, charging stations are becoming more and more available, so the interest for these cars will increase, which will eventually match production for them. Now, to go into my opponent's secondary claim that the production requirement to make these cars pose environmental and health risks. According to the Wall Street Journal, tightening air pollution regulations in places such as Europe and China forces automakers to engineer better electric vehicles. So there are already laws and regulations being put in place to create safer electric vehicles. However, he also states that smokestacks at power plants are the supply to charge these electric vehicles. However, a report by the California Energy Commission states that as of 2017, 20% of energy must be generated by clean energy and increasing to 50% by the year 2030. So it's not true for all areas, and there's other ways to get this energy to charge these cars, such as wind, solar, thermal, geothermal, biomass, and small hydroelectric. Towards the end of his speech, he just tells a story about a young vegan yoga instructor who drives a hybrid and starts having really bad headaches and pressure in her chest. But I didn't think that was enough evidence to prove that that's true for every person that drives a hybrid, because she could be more susceptible to the electric current from the motor than most people. So in conclusion, while there are negative environmental effects as a byproduct of almost all manufacturing, as methods improve daily, these effects are causing less and less harm to the environment and health risks.
All right, the first, basically everything's pretty well organized. The first point I think is kind of interesting because it's almost exactly the argument that the advocate was making on the manufacturing process. I know that that comes up on the second point also, but you're saying you got to do this fabrication and manufacturing, and you have to do that for all cars. And I guess what the advocate was saying is, yeah, you have to do that for electric cars too, so that there's no advantage to them over other kinds of cars. The only advantage then would be the source of the fuel. I think that's where you need to make your argument a little bit clearer and say, let's assume that we're starting on the same plane. Nobody is saying that building a car that's an electric car, just building the process is what produces the advantage to the environment. It's all about the source of fuel that it has. That's the thing that produces this. So this argument that the advocate presents is an irrelevant thesis, because that's not really the point that's being presented here. Your answer to it, though, just seems to kind of repeat the same point, so I don't think it gets you much. I think you're better off talking about, like you said, the improved mileage, the impact that it's going to have on the environment. Now, the impact that you list that it's going to have on the environment, it potentially decreases CO2 and noise pollution. And I'm going, and I guess you have clearer air. Those sound like very minimal advantages, and I think that that's the thing that you need to pump up to make a good counterclaim on this point, that those are important things, and I think you need to maybe build a stronger argument on that point. But the reasoning issue that you have on that point is pretty good. And then you've got the examples of how these things are improving all the time. I thought that was pretty good. The issue on the second point seems to suggest that there are restrictions that are being put in on manufacturing processes, especially for electricity. That's okay. Your argument on California's rules concerning where energy is going to come from, well, obviously that applies to California. I don't know that it's going to apply other places. By the way, one of the things that I think might be true is that that's in California. I don't know if it's where it has to be generated from, because I know over the years California has moved all of their power plants out of California. So we get electricity from coal-fired power plants that are in Utah. So it's kind of an interesting. I'm not sure if that rule applies or if this is a change in what's going on. So you've got a good argument there, but I think it needs to be clarified a little bit. Okay, I can tell everybody's ready to go. Nobody wants to keep listening to me, so I understand. We'll continue these discussions on Wednesday. You have a good evening.